Hello, and welcome. It is Monday, November 30th, 2020, and this is Truly News. As we begin this new day, let's start by increasing your knowledge and expanding your insights with a review of today's news. As always, we begin with a look at the top stories from around the country. And here are the stories that are leading the news today. Biden transitions despite fractured foot. Record holiday travel. Supreme Court hears case. President-elect Joe Biden will receive his first intelligence briefing today. Last week, the federal government cleared Biden to begin interacting with government agencies. Biden will also spend his time today announcing more picks for his White House team. He is expected to announce more members of his economic team. Last week, he named Janet Yellen the Secretary of Treasury. She formerly served as head of the Federal Reserve. As Biden faces a full agenda today, he will need to do so carefully after fracturing his foot while playing with his dog on Saturday. In COVID news, it is uncertain what effect the holiday weekend will have on the pandemic. One thing is certain, a record number of people traveled for the first time since the outbreak. According to the Transportation Security Administration, 1.2 million people were screened at airports on Sunday. That makes it the highest travel day for airlines since March. However, it is still 60% lower than the number of people who traveled by air during the Thanksgiving holiday in 2019. In other news, the Supreme Court will begin hearing arguments today in a case about whether illegal immigrants should be included in the population count. The Trump administration brought the case. It claims that illegal immigrants should not be included in the population totals that are used to determine the allocation of congressional seats. And that's your top news today. Now, in our look beyond the main headlines, let's begin with the latest advances in science, technology, and space exploration. In science news, researchers find that loneliness is a genuine type of craving. Research published in the journal Nature Neuroscience by scientists at MIT found that loneliness has the same type of mental craving found with hunger. Researchers found that people who have lacked social contact react to pictures of others with the mental sense of craving that is detected when a hungry person sees food. This shows how strongly people desire and need contact. In technology news, AOC raises $200,000 for COVID relief by playing games. On Friday, United States House Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did a live stream on the gaming site Twitch, where she played the popular game called Among Us. It wasn't just a publicity stunt. The stream raised money for COVID-related causes like eviction defense and food pantries. It was a successful effort, which raised $200,000 for the representative's coronavirus relief efforts. In space news, Canada plans for space explorations that include possible moon crops. Like many countries, Canada is focused on being a player in the new space industry. The country has launched an initiative called Canada's Future in Space. Among the planned missions, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced that a rover will explore the moon, along with other science payloads. One of the focuses of the mission will be to study the feasibility of agriculture on the moon. And that is your science, technology, and space news for today. Now we look at the latest in health, social, and environmental news. In health news, developing and distributing a COVID vaccine has been a costly process. With a possible vaccine coming as early as December, questions are arising about the cost and logistics of delivery. There are still many questions, but one thing that we do know is that developing the vaccine has been expensive. Estimates show that the U.S. government originally pledged $9 billion to development. The pharmaceutical companies now estimate that distribution will also cost in the billions. In social news, survey finds most people see media as biased, but important to democracy. Research by Gallup polling agency shows that news media is seen by many as biased. However, the vast majority of people still see the press as crucial to democracy. According to the research, 83% of those surveyed think that there is some bias in the media, with Republicans are more likely to perceive bias. 81% of respondents still see the media as a critical or very important part of democracy. In environmental news, new comprehensive catalog of plant species is published. Research published in the journal Scientific Data by researchers from Leipzig University and the German Center for Integrative Biodiversity Research, presents the world's most comprehensive list of plant species. The new catalog contains around 1.3 million species, which is roughly 70,000 more than previous efforts to compile lists. The research also clarifies the names of over 180,000 species previously unclear. And that is your health, social, and environmental news for today. Now, it is time for our look at economic and world news. In economic news, single-family new home sales level out after months of increases. The U.S. Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development have announced the latest sales of single-family new homes. Sales have recovered since an initial COVID dip in March. Sales since April have consistently increased, but in October those increases seem to level out. Presently the monthly sales are around 1 million per month, which is above the pre-COVID level of 775,000. In world news, Afghanistan now has its first female tattoo artist. In a country where some see tattoos as against religion, and women's behaviors have historically been under strict control, one woman is breaking many taboos. By all accounts, Soraya Shahidi is Afghanistan's first female tattoo artist. Her tattoo parlor is in the capital city of Kabul, and she gives tattoos to both women and men. She was trained in Turkey and Iran, and she claims that her work is acceptable under Islam. And that is your economic and world news for today. To wrap things up, we take a look at your entertainment options with newly released movies, shows, and books. The newly released movies. Today's movie is Always and Forever. A woman's childhood friends begin to die under mysterious circumstances tied to a dark secret from her past. Always and Forever is now for rent on various streaming platforms. The newly released shows. Today's show is Texas 6. Filmed over 2 years, the docuseries takes place in Strawn, Texas with a high school 6-man football team. Episodes of Texas 6 are now showing on CBS All Access and Pluto TV. Finally, in entertainment news, our newly published book is Daylight by David Baldacci. An FBI agent searches for her twin sister, while military investigators hunt for someone involved in a global conspiracy. This book is presently number 2 on the New York Times fiction bestseller list. And that is your entertainment news for today. As always, we end our podcast with hope for humanity, stories about the goodness and kindness that people show each other every day. And here is today's story. From Jackson, Minnesota. A random act of kindness. Last month, Becky Collender was on her way home from an appointment when she stopped off to pick up a birthday cake for her husband. To support social distancing, she had requested to pay over the phone, but was told that she would need to come in. When she got to the store, the cake was handed to her with a note. The note said, "I paid for your cake in honor of what would have been my mom's 83rd birthday. Have a wonderful day." It was from an anonymous stranger, and the random act of kindness brought tears to Becky's eyes and warmth to her heart. And that is your news for November 30th, 2020. Have a wonderful day.